it is a wonderful world, isn't it? Even with all the fuss and the chatter and all the silliness. As Anne Frank once wrote, I still believe people are good at heart. So this is our month to talk about the basics of our teaching. And one of the basics of our teaching is to absolutely choose to focus on what's wonderful about our world. Now, a lot of our classes and stuff focus on how to use the law of cause and effect. Basically, that's a bit more serious version of using the law of attraction. It's not sitting on your sofa in somebody's basement and saying Om and saying I own a Ferrari or I'm the president of. This is slightly harder work. And Ernest Holmes, who is the founder of our philosophy, said that if he had it to do it all over again, he would emphasize the law a little less and focus a lot more on the love. The love is what makes a wonderful world. The love is what we talked about in the first week of January. It's what we call the thing itself, the ultimate being, the God, for want of a better word, and because I can spell it. None of the words we come up with are going to be big enough. None are going to be deep enough. None are going to be juicy enough to explain what this divine being is. Today, we're going to talk about what it does, because it's easy to see evidence of the divine, or it's easier to see evidence of it than to see it itself. That was an interesting use of pronouns. So as I sat in meditation asking, what am I supposed to talk about? I remembered that the name is what it does. And a very simple answer is it loves us. It loves this wonderful world because it is this wonderful world. And it shows up as each and every one of us so that we may love. And so that we can create a world that shows all of that love, no matter what else is going on, no matter how much it might seem like everybody's gone to sleep and stopped doing that particular practice. We are here for God. We are here to love everyone, including those we have labeled unlovable. Now, in chapter 3 of the introduction of our textbook, which is called What It Does, Ernest Holmes once wrote, "The divine mind is infinite. It contains all knowledge and wisdom, but before it can reveal its secrets, it must have an outlet. It needs an outlet, and that would be us. If there is such a thing as a religious science or a science of mind creation story, it's based on the idea that the divine, the infinite love, wanted to contemplate itself. And in order to contemplate anything, there must be the contemplator and that which is contemplated. And so the divine started contemplating itself, and we were created. The whole universe was created, the multiverse, depending on which physics you want to get into. Spirit looked at itself in the mirror, and there we were. Now, Spirit loves us so much that it leaves us free to do whatever we need to in order to discover the divine within us, to discover our potential, to discover that we don't have to fear being separated from good because it's inherent in us. If God is all there is, and that's what we say, God is all there is, and we are one with the divine being, and so is everybody else. If, as the master teacher Jesus taught, it is true that the kingdom of heaven is within us, and there are no slums, there aren't even renters, there's only people who absolutely belong there and take ownership of the kingdom of heaven. If all of that is true, then there is no way for something to be outside of God. There's nothing to be afraid of, and there's no way for us to be separated from God. That is the primary fear of all humanity, no matter what religion you espouse. That somehow we are separate from and do not deserve, have not earned being one with the divine. Let me ask you, did you earn the breath in your lungs? Did you earn the blood in your body? Did you earn having skin? No, it's just a part of you. And it's the same thing with the divine being. Now, often when I say that, what I get back is, but Reverend Kathleen, then why do children get abused? Why do people fuss and fight? Why? If God is pure love and the only thing in the universe, what the heck have we done to it? And why? I'll remind you that we actually started, this teaching started as a teaching, as a philosophical institute. And so floating around out there are still the original lessons that Ernest Holmes taught. Basically, somebody was scrambling to write as fast as she could, I assume in shorthand, everything he said. And if you want to see more of what he said, please Google the Science of Mind archives. There are some epic rants and TV shows and everything else. But in the question of suffering, in lesson 10 of the original lessons, Ernest Holmes wrote, I see people go out and get knocked down by automobiles, and that is the end of them here. And I don't see God come down and say, this is all wrong. I'll just raise this man up out of his coffin. I haven't seen it in the hundreds of funerals I've had. Why? Doesn't God care? God loves us so much that God lets us alone until we discover God. And when we discover God, we discover ourselves at the same time. I believe the universe itself is friendly and beneficent, but it can only respond to the individual as the individual responds to it. In other words, behold, I stand at the door and knock. Don't treat me like someone you know is trying to sell something you don't want. Don't treat me like somebody who wants to save you or fix you somehow or sell you anything other than Girl Scout cookies. The divine is standing at the door to your heart and knocking so that it can go inside and see itself, so that we can open up the door and see ourselves as we really are, not what we fear, not the worst that we are possibly capable of, but the truth of us. That truth is love. That truth, I quoted Anne Frank in the very beginning, and she was just a kid who absolutely saw the good in people. If she can do it, we can do it. Yes, we suffer. Yes, there's problems in the world. There's pain. Suffering is optional. Did you know that? Pain might just plain old happen. But suffering over it, excuse me, there is nothing outside God and therefore nothing to be allergic to. Stop it. So, we also believe that there's no such thing as a miserable sinner. We were not made broken. We were not made bad. There's no sin but a mistake. And there's no punishment but a consequence. So long as we keep believing that we are separate from our brothers and sisters, that we are separate or better than or less than someone else, we're believing in separation. And that belief, false though it may be, has consequences. The world is going to look like we're separate. The world is going to look like somehow we can be at war with not just our own hearts, but the other people in the world. Here in America, for the past few years, there's been a lot of preaching about separation. A lot of people living in fear that somehow their neighbor is separate from God, or they're separate from God, or separate from each other. And so there's danger in the world. Beloveds, let me tell you, the only danger is that we believe in the fear, that we believe in the lie that says someone else is out to get us. We can replace that belief. That's what we do. Emma Curtis Hopkins, the one we called a teacher of teachers, someone who taught many, many people who went on to teach many, many people, wrote very simply, believe what you will, report your results. I've decided those aren't sneezes. That is me putting everything I just said in boldface and italics. Believe what you will. Believe whatever you want. You're gonna anyway. And everybody believes something, even if, there's such a the belief is such a thing as up and down exist. Believe what you will, report your results. If you choose to believe, if you choose to fall for the idea of separation from good for yourself or anyone else, you will find plenty of evidence out there and you'll experience it. What we do here is choose to believe in something better, that there is a power for good in the universe that is greater than we are, and we can use it, and it is using us right now to create peace, to create good and more good for everybody. Everybody. It just so happens that tomorrow is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And one of the things he's famous for saying is his great "I Have a Dream" speech. If you go back to that speech, if you look at it, how much of it has already happened? He spoke his word. He did what Jesus would have called praying in faith, believing it was already done. He said that he had a dream that someday Black children and white children would play together and no one would even think anything about it. That happens all over the place these days. There are places where we are still segregated. Sad to say, and many times that's at churches. That's where we go to see the highest and best of ourselves. But if we believe in a higher calling, if we believe in what we call the world that works for everyone, then we absolutely can create it. I know it sounds woo-woo and crazy, but it works. So not so woo-woo and not so crazy. Ralph Waldo Emerson once wrote, "Treat a man as he is, and he will remain as he is. Treat a man as he could be, and he will become what he should be." I have very high expectations of all of you, male, female, and everything in between. I have very high expectations. I know something good about all of you. And that something good is what I absolutely expect to see every time I see you or interact with you. One of the best things about COVID is that there's such an opportunity to see more and more good in the world. I've discovered one of the great COVID benefits is that Christmas goes on for quite some time. I finally got my cookies from my sister. I got these beautiful earrings that showed up, and I want to thank Sandra Jasper for them. I got a beautiful new scarf, and all of that happened this week. It's like Christmas has overflowed the riverbed, and now it's just going to be all year long. It is entirely possible. It's even probable that we can create world peace, that we can come together, that this country in particular can come together in the name of love and start seeing each other as the best of who we could possibly be. And we will rise up into that expectation. It works with kids. It works with adults. It works with all of us. It works with ourselves in our own hearts. And the way we do that is through what we call spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer. And so I'm going into prayer now, and I invite you to join me. I also invite you to join us online. Just Google New Vision Center for Spiritual Living on Inauguration Day. And between 10 and I believe it's 4, we will be holding the high watch. We will be knowing the absolute best of everyone in this country. We will be claiming the good and peaceful transition of power in this country, and a choice by everyone to see the God and the good within each other. So go ahead and Google that and you'll find everything you need. Again, that's New Vision Center that is physically down in Phoenix. The program will be done online. So join me now in this prayer. Join me now in this knowing. And if it helps you to close your eyes, then please do so. Because in this moment, God is all there is. There is absolutely a single power and presence in this universe. It exists in, through, as, and for all of us. It is pure and perfect love. It is the deepest peace, true peace, not resignation, not putting up with, but true peace. Love and power and peace coalesce within each and every one of us, and we are both within and indwelt by all of that good. There is one mind that has found its outlet into the world through each and every one of us. And so all of that wisdom and all of that information exists within all of us to create the world that works for everyone, to create, inform Martin Luther King's dream. All of our dreams of connection, our dreams of good for everyone, everywhere, all the time. And so I stand in this powerful truth and let all of the hesitation and fear, all of the old things that I used to believe in that do not serve this highest good, I let all of them simply fall away and stand in the light, knowing that we all are standing in this light, claiming for all of us a higher truth. It's seeping into our bones and into our every crook and corner of our minds right now. And according to the law of cause and effect, we have set a new cause into action. And it must manifest, demonstrate, become the new effect, become the new physical reality. I am so grateful that this is simply how it all works, how it has been working forever. I am grateful that Spirit has been evolving us, that we may more clearly see all the good that is in this world, all around us, all of the God that exists. I bless and celebrate all of it and allow Spirit to get to work by taking my own mental hands off of it and just letting it be. And so together we affirm, and so it is.